Boom, what's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant, this podcast. If you're listening to all things comedy, iTunes, Omni Studio, and where else? Yeah, those places. And if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe, leave a comment. Usually get back to everybody that leaves a comment. And yeah, and the sponsor is on the volley apparel.com. If you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, you have tanks, tees, hoodies, sweatshirts for men and women, different styles and varieties, with a hip hop soccer logo or album and emblem on the front, like a mix, like a, what do they call that? Uh, I'm at a loss for words right now, which is a bad time to be at a loss for words. Yeah, but just go to onthevolleyapparel.com. Check out their gear. Use my promo code Comic Rant. You get 20% off. Also, like, finalize the shirt. So that's the podcast shirt and the little soccer Comic Rant thing on the sleeve. So that's going to be on the site. So if you guys want to purchase it, I don't know what the price is going to be yet. We got to figure that out, but maybe by next week, and maybe we'll give away some, and we'll see what's up. So Premier League season started, and I guess the first question is like, how did you guys going to feel about it actually starting, and why did you feel the way you felt about it starting? And this is before any games.
You want to go first, Neil?
Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah, you go first, Lee. Before any games.
I was excited about the other games, not necessarily the Southampton one, because, I'm always a bit pessimistic with us. I even put that on my Instagram beforehand. I was like, new season, new disappointment, here we go. And then we went 1-0 up, and I was like, oh, this might be good. But no, like, it was just nice to have games back on. It was nice to have, just like a Friday night game with the, the Arsenal Brentford game, and then, just getting back into it with big fixtures. And I think, Spurs City was like a great way to finish the weekend. So I was excited to watch all of it. Have match of the day back on the Saturday night as well. It was just nice to have all of that going on, and, just knowing that it's the first week of 38 game weeks to go. So, because, the Euros was fun, but I always care way more about my club than I do England. So I need a club football back.
All right. So let me ask you a question. Like, you're excited about the other games and you're pessimistic because it's the disappointment of your team, right? But are you expecting to win anything? I'm trying to see where your disappointment is coming. You like, isn't it just? I'm not even being facetious. Aren't you just happy to not be in a relegation battle, finish somewhere in the middle, or even the top of the bottom, and like make it to another season? Like, if you're a Southampton fan, like, what do you like? What's your vibe?
Well, starting with a loss is never good. Like, that means we could be in a relegation battle.
Right. But before the loss.
But like, before the ball's kicked, like, I would just be happy to finish, like, this season. I'd be happy to finish 15th and not be involved in a relegation battle. I would take that. But you kind of want to see some exciting football maybe along the way, at least give teams a good game. Mm-hmm. But you just don't want to start with a loss. I think it just sets the tone badly, but you can't judge it after one game. So, I'll see where we're at in a few weeks to see whether my pessimism is warranted or not.
Where do you think you're gonna, like, when you judge your team based on what players left based on their contracts, like Vestergaard and Ings, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Vestergaard really one of your most important players anyway? I think he's more important to Norway. I feel like you didn't start him all the time.
Denmark, yeah.
To Denmark, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he played for us when he was fit and available. He played for us every time, and he was our best centre back, I think.
Damn.
And he was a good leader as well. Like, that's the thing with the players we've lost. Like, Ings was like a team leader. Vestergaard was a team leader, and Bertrand, who people forget about that we've lost as well.
Yeah.
The three of them are experienced leaders in the team, and I think we can replace their ability. Like, I think Armstrong looks like he's a good finisher, replacement for Ings. We've got Simeon from Chelsea, who might be Vestergaard's replacement, but I think other people will step up in his place instead. And Perraud, the left back. And they're all, like I say, I think talent-wise, we've not really got much of a deficit, but character-wise, we might do. That's what's going to be, seen in the next few months, whether they've got the ability to step up or not overall. But yeah, we'll see.
I see. All right. And Neil, how did you feel before the season started? I know you're happy now.
Yeah.
But
it's always good to start with a win.
Right. But we kind of had this 20-minute discussion about your pessimism last week, even though you have nothing. You have but be pessimistic.
I think it was more to do with your pessimism, because I was pretty clear that Chelsea should be going for the title. So
is that truly?
Yeah. I was but you guys should join along on the ride. All I was saying was you should join along on the ride too.
Are you looking at Lee's face? That face explains exactly what was going on last week.
No, I think I feel pretty, especially after I wasn't really confident of the Crystal Palace game, because that's still one game that we are playing without having a striker who is known to score goals in the Premier League. So, but we got the 3 points. We played pretty well, and not just we played pretty well, we got the goals too. Which
does it bug you that Xabi Alonso scored?
No, he's having a new lease of life, and I'm okay with it. Marcos Alonso, yeah.
Marcos Alonso, because that's a player you've detested. You detested him almost as much as you used to detest. What's his name? Willian.
Yeah.
He was up there on your Willian list.
But the thing with Marcos Alonso is, in a back three system with wing backs, he still has some utility. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't like to do the wing back stuff.
You feel like he's a terrible defender.
Yeah, and even he doesn't do a lot of crossing. So even the offensive qualities of a wing back, he's not that great at. But what he's really good at is I feel like he's an amazing second striker. He always gets into those areas, and on dead ball, I think he's the best dead ball specialist in Chelsea. But that's what he did. He's scored those goals for Chelsea. It's not the first time. So I was actually thinking that this is the 6th season he's starting at Chelsea, which is kind of surreal to think about it, because he's kind of getting to that level where he's won the Premier League at Chelsea. He's won the Champions League. He's kind of getting into that John Obi Mikel territory where you're not a legend, but you're kind of like a cult hero, because you've kind of
and you hate that.
Mattered. No, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all.
Well, I hate him because I had Chilwell in my fantasy team this weekend. So
yeah, well, I think Tuchel had made it clear that none of those guys from the semifinals onwards and Thiago Silva from Brazil, Copa America, were gonna start. And
why?
That's
they weren't fit.
Yeah, they need some more time. So I think Azpilicueta was the only guy who kind of started. And in fact, we played a friendly the day after the game on Sunday against some Northern League team, I think called Weymouth.
Weymouth. They're in the Conference South.
Right.
Or the Conference. They're right on the south coast. They're not far from Bournemouth.
Oh, okay. So we played them, and we apparently beat them 13-0. And this was just to give everybody played 90 minutes. So it was just to give
who's everybody?
Everybody who didn't pretty much start on Saturday. So, but yeah, it was
you bullied the team for confidence.
Yeah. I think Hudson had 8 goal involvements, something crazy like that. So it's a good win. Pulisic, I think, is really important for him because Ziyech is injured. So it's good to have him get some minutes. Got a good goal. Trevor Chalobah, that's the story of the season.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like
I wanted to
this,
get to that match separately from this question, but
yeah,
since we're there, and I
yeah.
already asked you about Marcus Alonso, but
Mhm.
Chalobah, I was watching him earlier in the week and that's another thing I wanted to bring up. The what was that? The Super Cup,
Yeah.
right? So you guys, right, in the Super Cup,
Mhm.
did went to full time tied,
Mhm.
did extra time, right? And then
Mhm.
went to penalties. And
Yeah.
then you won in penalties after switching the goalkeeper. Now,
Yeah.
and you guys win the Super Cup. Nobody said anything because you won. But then
Yeah.
Man United faces the same team. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, you didn't even face as strong as a team. Villarreal did fielded a stronger team against us than you guys.
Mhm.
And it went to penalties. And
Yeah.
then we go to penalties and we lose after the 11th penalty by our goalkeeper. And
Mhm.
everybody shits on Solskjaer. Don't you think that Villarreal is tougher than people give him credit for? And the fact that it took you guys a change goalkeeper to beat them, like, eh,
Yeah.
shouldn't people be less about doubtful of Solskjaer's skills?
Well, when it comes down to these fine margins, right? Like
Right.
when you don't cross the line, that's always going to happen. Like we had the same thing with Lampard. He came so close to winning 2 trophies, but he finished with none. He lost to the reigning Champions League champions in Super Cup penalties, similarly, and then lost with the odd goal in an FA Cup. So I think the fact with Solskjaer is that he's been here for decent enough amount of time and he's reached those semi-finals, finals without really crossing the line. I think that's what's been held against him. Um, but you're right. Villarreal is a team that can take a lot of teams to the brink, and we were doing very well for the first 30 minutes. Got that goal, and then Ziyech got injured, and it seemed like we were playing a completely different game after that.
Yeah,
Um,
you guys played like they didn't let you replace Ziyech. Like
yeah,
you played like you were a man down. It's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
you get a sub for him.
yeah.
Where's the sub at? What's he doing?
Yeah.
And like,
So um, I think that's how like it is kind of important for Pulisic to like to really get back into form over the weekend. And the Super Cup, it wasn't really a really great game. There are a few bright spots.
Chalaba.
Chalaba, he had
Yeah, which is
two
why we're talking
superb
about, because
games.
Chalaba
Yeah,
was the king in that game. Like he was the
yeah,
king in that game. As a matter of fact, the goal that they got came off of like a Rudiger mistake, a panic
yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah,
Like old Lampard's Rudiger showed up.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
under Tuchel, he's been more clear headed and less, crazy. Because he has
yeah,
that craziness in him sometimes to make a mistake that he just
yeah,
needs to calm down. So yeah, but Chalaba there and then Chalaba on this weekend
yeah.
was bananas. Like, who the fuck is this kid?
So he's actually one of those guys who same batch as Mason Mount, Tammy. Well, kind of Hudson Odoi, maybe 1 year. So then, like, he's been in those FA Cup. Like Chelsea won 5 continuous FA Youth Cups. He's been in a couple of those teams. So,
Mm-hmm.
but unlike folks like Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who've kind of had like the limelight shone on them, like right from you have these people like who are marked out for
Mm-hmm.
greatness. Chalaba is kind of slightly underrated among those, but he's pretty much checked every box asked of him. Went out to Ipswich Town for a season, got a lot of minutes there. Then went to Huddersfield, got a lot of minutes there. Then last season, what was at Lorient in the French league, and did pretty well there. So I think the plan was for him to go on loan again, but
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of like with a lot of people coming back late for preseason. He kind of got chances in those preseason games, did really well, and then now he's got the moment you give him a chance, he's like doing what is asked of him. So what do
Right.
you can't now turn around and tell him to go on loan again because that'd be really unfair. There is still a slight danger that might happen, and that's really bothering me. I really feel
Do
we
you
should.
feel better about them losing to Maury now because maybe they knew about Chalaba?
I think there's another guy who is playing right now for Huddersfield called Levi Colwell.
Mhm.
And he's supposed to be the next centre-back hope. So the thing with Chalobah is his versatility is a big wild card, because he can play centre-back in a back three, back four. He can play right back. He can play as a holding DM. He's played all these positions in senior football. So I wouldn't be. I think it would be really good value to the squad to just keep him, and there is a way to satisfy him with minutes, because the fact that he can play all these positions means that he will keep getting minutes one way or the other.
Right.
So and the fact there's also an emotional story behind this, because his elder brother Nathan Chalobah was part of the generation that the first really good Chelsea academy generation came through, but then none of them were used, and he's gone away to Watford, was never really given a chance under Antonio Conte, and he's done fairly well for them. He is the stand-in captain for the promotion run. So finally the younger brother makes it. I think it's pretty emotional moment. Lukaku also, like in some of his videos yesterday, was mentioning that when he was here in Chelsea the first time around, he and Nate Chalobah were around the same age, right. And they kind of spent a lot of time together. So when he saw his younger brother, he's now probably going to be playing with the younger brother. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So
that's pretty good. So Martin, here's a question that I asked.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're going to answer this wrong. I'm just going to preface that. How did you feel about the Premier League season before it started?
In what way?
Like for me, for Man United, I looked at our transfer deals and I was like, we're going to have a great season. We're going to look exciting. We're going to play great football. We might not win anything. I think we'll win something, right? But I just think it's going to be great to see this team with these players and our offensive talent play. So I was like looking forward to this season before what happened on, I think it was Saturday. It happened on Saturday. So you being a Spurs fan and your best player being up in, you don't know what's going on, but you still have some buys and you have your general manager, and then just overall looking at the rest of the teams in the league. And like, how did you feel before?
I mean, we did the preview. We did the preview together, and I think nothing has changed even now since what I said during the preview. That is the same season as when was my first season on the podcast when Pochettino came to Spurs, and I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to see exciting, good football. I wanted to identify myself with this team. I wanted to see people trying hard, playing together, and let's see what happens, and I wanted to see excitement, and I saw that. So nothing is changing for me in terms of end result. I still don't put a number on it. Like maybe, let's say before this first game, I would say 7th place would be an okay place. Now I would say I see potential to finish 5th, 6th. But I don't want to even think about that. What I saw is that what was missing under Mourinho, especially, like the team looked lackadaisical and disengaged a lot of times under Mourinho. It looked like they didn't have fun playing football. And it looked like they had a lot of fun playing together in this game, And by the way, not missing the best player, but second best player, because Son is at this moment the best player.
Oh yeah, then why don't you sell him? Why don't you sell your second best player?
We will probably. We will. It looks like we will. It looks that way, Like all points, everything points in that direction. Of course, we've seen things changing, like with Messi last season, staying with Barcelona. Everybody was thinking he will go to the city, and he stayed till the end of the season, and then he left. So it is possible that he'll stay till the end of the season, and then he will leave. But I still think he will leave probably to the city. Just the price went up higher because they clearly need a striker. But I see this team being
But
like.
How come you won without a striker? Everybody's saying City needs a striker, but y'all just won without a striker.
Without a single striker even on the bench. Yeah, without a single striker on the roster, we won the game.
So it's
matter of fact.
So why does City need a striker? But I get it. City has higher aspirations. You need a striker to win Champions League and this league. You're not expecting
Yeah,
to win the league.
yeah, but it's not only that. I think you need a striker when you are the team dictating possession and creating from in that way, playing that type of football. We were playing counter-attacking football. We're having interchangeable wings and guys who can, go to the middle, change, go to the left, go to the right, and who are fast. Then you don't necessarily need a striker if you play like that. I mean, it still, you need striker against Burnley, against Watford and those teams, but if you play a team like City and you play a counter-attacking football, you need fast players, right?
But
And we did have that.
Well, first of all, y'all played amazing Jose Mourinho football. It's the best Jose Mourinho football since Spurs beat us 6-1 last season. Yeah,
No, why not?
But to
Because
be
we created
honest,
chances.
Son is a no. Like that, but that's the thing. Like when Jose first went to Chelsea, they played Jose Mourinho football,
Oh,
but it
okay,
was
that's
beautiful
Jose
Jose
Mourinho. Okay, that type of Jose
Mourinho
Mourinho. I agree.
football.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Old Jose Mourinho, you mean? Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, but Son is a forward. Why isn't like the only reason why Son wasn't a forward before is because Harry Kane was there. But technically, he's a finisher.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just putting him at the tip of the triangle or the spear, just to do what he would do as a second backup guy. It's just like, I guess it's where he might feel at home.
Yeah, and if Kane is sold and there's not another striker being brought in, I think it's still like Son to attack from the wing, because that's how he scored a goal. And by the way, listen, I didn't expect to win this particular game, although we tend to beat City at home on a regular basis, in the recent years. So it's in some way it always works against City when we play them at home.
It's
Even
weird.
we
City has trouble against lesser teams, so you're right.
yeah, I mean, everybody's a lesser team. Everybody's a lesser team because they were
I know.
first in the league. But yeah, no, but it's just sometimes that's how it works. I think we lost every game against Chelsea in the last 5 years, and we won every game against City at home, or except of one probably.
Yeah, you gave him
years.
trouble in the Champions League, in the semifinals. Whether you got lucky or something happened, there's times when you derail them in big ass matches over the last few years.
Yeah, like for example, Chelsea doesn't play that great against Arsenal. We don't play great against Chelsea. I don't know what's your kryptonite, but our kryptonite is Chelsea, and we're probably City's kryptonite. And every team has a team that struggles against. Sometimes even like an average team.
We've been bad against Arsenal.
You've been bad against Watford in the past, right? You were always losing against Watford somehow, if I remember correctly.
But Arsenal was bad against Watford. Watford would give us trouble. Who else would give us trouble? There's a few teams. Say again?
Crystal Palace.
So that's
Crystal Palace.
So that's the thing when I was saying about my expectations for this season was with the players we bought. I don't expect to lose the league, but I don't expect us to drop points against teams that we normally would drop points against. And that's what I was excited about, like bringing in Varane, and Sancho and Greenwood getting like 1 year more experience. Like it's so funny to watch like the pundits, like I watched Tim Sherwood, and I'm like, how did he ever get a coaching job in England? Like
where did he get a coaching job, by the way? Where did he get a coaching job?
Well, Villa, right?
No, he coached us after Harry Redknapp, and at the time it was
When he was after Villas-Boas.
So what?
He was after Villas-Boas.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they wanted someone that was more like Redknapp, because they didn't. A lot of the English press didn't like Villas-Boas. They picked on him.
But he's nothing like Redknapp. Did he coach Villa too, or just Spurs?
Who, Sherwood?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a junior Harry Redknapp, basically.
But listen, I see him.
He just talked shit, and he would just tell the players to go out there and work hard and have fun, which is all Harry Redknapp ever did.
For real, I think. But Harry Redknapp was a good coach. Like he was the first since the Premier League came here. He's the first coach to get Spurs going, and be like, oh, this is and then he got players on the team that like.
Yeah, I remember there was one season. When we finished 4th in the league and we didn't qualify to the Champions League because of the rules, where the winner of the Champions League was taking.
Oh, it was Chelsea.
Yeah, so at the time, like the winner of the Champions League, it didn't mean that the league will get 5 teams. It would mean that it will still get 4 teams. Yeah. So Spurs finishing 4th didn't qualify, where in the new rules, they would still qualify, right? Because it would mean 5 teams. Yeah. I think Chelsea won the Champions League and finished like 6th or 7th.
5th. We finished 5th.
Yeah. Or 5th. Yeah, that's what happened.
They changed that the next season.
Yeah, they changed it the next season. It was a very exciting Spurs team that at some point had a chance to win a title after winning like 9 games in a row with Van der Vaart, Gareth Bale. That was a really good team.
And who was the coach of that team? That was
Redknapp.
So he can actually put a team together.
Yeah, he took us to the quarterfinals of the Champions League the same season. Yeah.
Like Tim Sherwood, I don't think he does that.
Oh no, Tim Sherwood to a lesser extent. The thing is, neither of them are great coaches, but Redknapp employed better coaches under him than Sherwood did because he'd been around longer. He knew what to do. Also, though, Redknapp, in almost any job he's gone, he's left a lot of clubs in ruin. As well.
There was something also at Portsmouth that there were some accusations that he's taking bribes for players. What was that accusation?
Massively,
his house has been raided for sure by the cops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Files.
Yeah, he had a bank account in Monaco in his dog's name.
Whoa.
He was.
But he was also the funniest manager. He had some one-liners like on the level with top comedians. I remember one time when he was in the studio for the World Cup as a pundit, and he was the coach of Tottenham or I don't know. I think Tottenham. He had a guy named Bentley on the team. And there was a game Japan played, and they asked him about the opinion, and he said, "Well, it looks like I'll have to replace Bentley with a Honda because the guy, his name was Honda, who played for Japan." So he had this.
Yeah, I've heard him like.
He had a sense of humor.
Yeah, he still got it. He's not dead. I've heard.
Yeah, he's still funny. Like when he comes on.
Yeah.
My favorite manager. Like quick joke was Gordon Strachan when he was Southampton manager. Post game, an interviewer said, "Can I have a quick word?" And he said velocity and walked off, which is just amazing.
That's pretty funny. But like onto Tim Sherwood, like they had I forgot what channel it is in England, but they put the episode on YouTube. They were like previewing the season, and he's like, "Oh, Manchester United needs to buy Harry Kane. He needs to buy Harry Kane, and then they'll be like the winners. They just need to. They don't have like all they have right now is Cavani, and it's like, hey, do you know the team? Like, if we buy Harry Kane, it sets Greenwood back. Greenwood has been playing on the right just to get experience in the game, but he is soon gonna be the official forward. We don't need some guy who's gonna like delay him stepping into that position like a Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like he's on the right. He started last 2 seasons on the right. We have a right-sided player. Plus we got Ahmad. It's like you don't need somebody who's gonna stunt your growth.
Yeah.
So it's like I just think he's up there making money without like looking into things and just
and to be fair, almost all pundits are. There's a reason why they're sitting on a couch on TV and not in a dugout somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But
there's a reason why.
Right. There's some amazing ones. Like there's this girl, like when you watch the Champions League show, the one she's not always in the studio, but they're always going back and forth between her and Micah. I forgot her name.
Alex Morgan?
Alex Scott.
Alex Scott.
The black girl.
Alex Scott, yeah.
I think Alex Scott. And she knows football. And when Kieran Dyer, like when he breaks down the game, like on Match of the Day, you're like, holy shit, I did see that. Like, and
who I like? Danny Higginbottom. He wasn't a very good player, but sometimes I listen to him on different podcasts. He's pretty knowledgeable. I mean, the way he reads the game, I like what he says.
Yeah, he's rated because when I talked to Lloyd in England, and he's like, so who's on over there? And I said Higginbottom. I said, oh yeah, Higginbottom's pretty good. So he's rated too. Yeah.
Thing is, when in the Euros, it was the games when they had actual working coaches come on the commentator team. All of a sudden, everyone was like, "Oh my god, they know so much!" It's like, yeah, because they're working coaches. Like they had Emma Hayes, who's the Chelsea women's manager, on, and she broke down Spain's tactics like perfectly.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, of course, because she's a working coach at the top level. Like, there's a reason why some pundits are pundits, because they can't read the game. If they could read the game and explain the game better, they would be coaching, but they're not.
So then why are they pundits? Because they're not giving us what the I guess they're,
because they're ex-pros.
Yeah, they're ex-pros. Yeah, and they have a name. Like me and my friend, we always criticize Ian Wright. He's gotten better, but it's normally it's like, come on, Ian.
I think he's just there because he's a personality. He's likable.
He's a personality.
Like he's a fun guy. He's likable. He says some fun stuff.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
I like.
Say again.
No, I was saying, like, the more high profile an expert you are, like if you're that high profile from your playing career, you probably have so many things going on in your life that you're not really watching a lot of these games.
That's what I feel like too.
So they kind of like wing it.
Definitely for Ian Wright. Definitely for Ian Wright. Like he's enjoying his life. He doesn't have time to even dress right when he shows up on the panel to like pick out an outfit that matches. He's just so busy. He's on reality shows. He's doing all kinds of shit.
Then you've got like Alan Shearer though, and Shearer hasn't got a personality or any insight. He's literally just there because of his name. You don't rate Shearer? I think on Match of the Day, I think he's pretty decent. Like I'll learn some stuff from him. I would never criticize it. Now you? Nah. Not having it.
I actually liked in the old Match of the Day. I know he was a controversial figure, and he said one of the most famous quote in the history of television, with you can't win with young guys, right? But I liked Alan Hansen. I mean, he was interesting. He was controversial sometimes.
How old was he? How long ago did he say that? That was after?
That was before the class of 92.
Yeah,
right
like
before
96,
United started winning
97.
titles.
Yeah, but even still, he's never heard of Bugsby's babes. Like what who says that? Who says
but overall, I mean, he got bad rep for saying that. But overall, I remember him making a lot of good points on Match of the Day. I think he was.
I think with the kids thing, he was just trolling United because he's a Liverpool legend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, that makes more sense.
And it was him and Lawrenson. So there was two Liverpool legends for a number of years on Match of the Day. They had two guys from the 80s Liverpool teams.
Not biased at all.
Not biased at all against United when United were winning titles. Yeah, exactly.
That's like watching ESPN sports. Like that shit is so biased. And the only thing that balances it is because his name is Jan. He's from Norway. I forgot his last name.
Jan
Agerfurtov.
Oh, Fjørtoft. Yeah, he was on the famous Norway team that kicked out England out of the World Cup in '94.
Yeah, you would have to bring that up. Thank you, Martin. But yeah, Jan
also
Ali.
Poland. Also Poland.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Thank you for being fair. So, let's see. Which game was the best game to you guys, Lee?
I would say on a technical level, probably the City Spurs game. On a pure technical level, in terms of the quality of the game. But for fun, United Leeds was the most fun game of the weekend. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I'll for the City Spurs game, right? So I watched the Man U game on a flight, right? So the entire flight, they have the air marshal was probably watching my reaction to make sure I wasn't up to something. Because
were you watching it live?
Yeah. Somehow I said, let me see if I can access the plane Wi-Fi. First, I was talking to Lee right before I was at the gate, and he's like, "You watching this?" He DM'd me, so you watching the game? And I just thought the game was going to start like an hour from now, like when I was on the flight. And
I didn't want to throw any spoilers out there if you weren't.
Right, which I appreciate. But then I realized, oh shit, if it's starting right now, there's like a half an hour before I get on the flight. Let me start watching it. So then I started watching it. And then I got on the flight, and then I was like, thank God there's like, if you're a T-Mobile customer, you can get internet for free. So then I just started, I switched from my computer to the phone, and I was just watching it on the phone, a little bit delayed. But yeah, I was like, watching those goals in amazement. But then when I came home, I watched uh, the Man City game, Spurs game the next day, and hands down, that crowd at Spurs, like that's that's that typified what we've been missing. Those fans, I don't want to give any credit to Spurs, but those fans added so much to that game. It was crazy. It made it like our game was exciting, but those fans and the way that, like you're saying, the technical ability of the game kind of edged out Man U for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. But what you got, Neil?
Yeah, Brentford Arsenal for me.
Why?
That was, I mean, I guess for the fact this was the first Premier League game with full fans back, and the Brentford fans is smaller stadium, but they completely like made up for it with their with the ambience there. It felt like it felt like one of those final match day weekends, and it's always good to see Arsenal starting off with the train wreck.
With Fulham gone, Brentford are your new West London rivals now.
That is true. That is true. but I think a lot of the shots that they showed of this guy who's 8, and now I think he's 74. He's seen his team in the first top flight after such a long time. He had tears rolling down his eyes.
So he saw that last game of Brentford in the top flight against Arsenal. And how many years later he's seeing that first game of Arsenal and Brentford back in the top flight?
Like over 50 to 60 years. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Some of that. I don't know the exact time, but yeah, the whole it was just the most perfect game to get back to the Premier League. Yeah. And Brentford actually played a pretty quality game. Like it wasn't just a team that was trying to nick something off on a counter attack. They actually did put the pressure on, and both the goals, if you see, like they came out of real pressure moments on the Arsenal defense. And it's just the second goal that they conceded was pretty shambolic. I mean, for a Premier League keeper like Bern Leno not to be able to get out of the way, like he just got pinned down. Like the dude is what, like 6'3", I guess. He just got pinned down by the center forward, and he literally could not move. And it wasn't a foul. Like he could move if he wanted.
Yeah,
to. Like,
that means anybody could just say, "Let's do that to Leno."
That's a really that's a warning for future games. Like I'm hoping Lukaku just goes and sits there.
Yeah, but what you're saying about the Brentford Arsenal game, it wasn't the most exciting game to me. But watching that game, that stadium is so small. I felt like Arsenal was on the road at playing a championship team in an FA Cup
game.
And that team wanted to knock them out of the FA Cup. Yeah, and they did, and they, like another thing, Tim Sherwood, like Brentford, they're going down. It's and it's like, do you know they play Moneyball and that they've come up through the thing, and this is a pretty organized team, and they've sold good players into the Premier League, like the guy at
I think last year they made the playoff final, or they made the playoff final, lost it, then lost 2 of their best players.
Sold.
Watkins and Benrahma.
Watkins and Benrahma, and then they make it. So obviously they're like doing so many things right there.
They're doing something. This is like a completely organized team that, like, on the pitch and off the pitch. So why would you just, if you're a pundit, just write them off? Because it's easy to say when they ask, what teams do you think are going down? It's easy to name the 3 teams that just came up without studying them. Like, so it's just hilarious to me. Martin, what was your best game of the weekend?
Yeah, I'll actually expand on what you said. You said about the being on a plane, and yeah, I had a similar experience actually, and but that allowed me to catch up with football. After a few weeks of kind of falling behind with filming and other stuff, but I had finally Sunday of flying, and I could catch up a little bit, and I watched the games. So I will give you a little bit more. The most impressive team was United. The most impressive team as a team was United to me, and
elaborate.
I was shocked, and you can go and check that I'm not making that stuff up. You can go to see to listen to the Guardian podcast on Monday. They were killing Solskjaer. They were saying that this was not a very good tactics he has chosen for the game, and that the players won the game despite him. I actually think Solskjaer is growing as a coach, and I think he's getting better and better, and the team is getting better and better. And I like Pogba and Fernandes playing together in this game. I like Greenwood. I think United, Sancho came off the bench. I think United will be a very good team, and you really have a chance to win the title. I still think Chelsea are the favorites, but I think it's very impressive your offensive performance. Where in the past, I would say the one thing you could pinpoint on United not being creative enough. I think you were very creative in this game.
Right.
But like on the Guardian podcast, they're like, oh, it's because Bielsa plays, very
everybody
open football. It's not gonna work against other teams, blah blah blah, and
Martin,
we'll see.
Tim Sherwood, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the show, he's a paid pundit, sitting in the couch. He's like, the problem with you have a player like Pogba, and you're playing him on the right, so the coach doesn't know where to play him. You're playing him on the left. I mean,
yeah,
and the coach doesn't know where to play him. It's like it looked like either Solskjaer should if you have a player like your best player, you don't know where to play him. Should you be the coach? That this game he started him exactly where Tim Sherwood disagreed with him starting him and had 4 assists. And
I said before the game as well, I was like, him playing on the left, he won't play on the left. He'll come inside.
Yeah.
And what that does is it gives Luke Shaw the whole left side to attack on. And then Pogba just he overloads the centre mid, which if you've then got 4 guys in there, if you've got Fernandes, Pogba, Fred, McTominay, the other team don't know what to do. And I mean, Leeds are known for their pressing, but Pogba just seemed to find the space and time to just play like a quarterback when he got the ball. He was just firing those passes.
Right.
He made it look easy the way he played.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I praised the Chelsea game, but I really did enjoy the Man United game. And then, first of all, how many goals? 6 goals? It was 5-1?
Yeah.
And the only goal that was okay, and it was only okay because the other goals were spectacular, was Fred's goal. But sorry, Fred. Yeah, and also because it's Fred. Hilarious.
And Cavani didn't even play, and technically he is the best typical striker you have, right? And he didn't play. So,
but I don't even know if he is. Greenwood. Listen, man. Let me go to Greenwood's goal first. Greenwood's goal. Yeah. First of all, this is why Tim Sherwood. I'm killing Tim Sherwood with this podcast, but you're telling us we need a forward. Look at Greenwood's goal. The pass was precise, but then you need 4 touches to make it a goal. 4 touches, you have to run around a defender. You have to control the ball. Then you have to tap it in the direction of the goal. And then you have to set it up. These are all opportunities for someone who is not top caliber that could mess it up. And then you have to put it precisely in the net off the post. And that lets me know that Greenwood is going to make a great center forward. He's just going to make a great footballer, period. Even during the preseason, when he drops back, his touches on the ball in the midfield, I said, oh, this dude's a footballer. Just period. He's got so much skill, and it's all going to come out. So that's why I'm excited.
I think I remember this quote from, I don't know whether it was Solskjaer himself, I guess, that he is he said this a couple of years back, that Greenwood is the best finisher at the club. And this is when Greenwood is just
Interesting.
about breaking through, and you already had folks like Martial and Rashford at the club. I think Lukaku was there at the club too. So I think his finishing is something that he's always been rated for, and it seems like that's his path, right? That centre forward position is the one that he'll eventually settle down to in senior football. So if like Jadon Sancho comes in, I don't know what's the timeline for Rashford's injury, but between Rashford, Martial, and Sancho, if they are on the wings, then Cavani and Greenwood have a clear, can manage those minutes at centre forward.
Right. I think
But-
Solskjaer. Go ahead.
Yes, yeah, because I didn't say the most exciting. Actually, the most exciting games, in my opinion, the most exciting to watch were two games.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Newcastle against West Ham, I think, was the most exciting game because Newcastle went up twice, and then West Ham without Lingard, who went back to Man U. They had this guy you just mentioned, right, from Brentford, who played very well. Benrahma, exactly. So West Ham actually impressed me in this game in the second half. They played really good, and even with Mikel Antonio missing two great chances, they still won and scored 4 goals. And I was very impressed with Watford. I think Watford are, and Danny Higginbottom actually said it on the podcast that I listened to, and I agree with him with everything he said, that Watford look like they are built for Premier League, this team, and they should stay comfortably because they have all the pieces. All those players are very interesting players, including Denise as the striker, who can score some goals this season. They pretty much destroyed Villa, which was a highly advertised team before the season. People are saying Villa might even, sneak into top 7, top 8, maybe even top 6, and they got destroyed, smacked by Watford, because it was 3-0 and then 2 goals, but in last 10 minutes. But for 80 minutes, Watford was so much better.
Right. Like you said about the Newcastle game, like it's funny because when I saw the score before I watched the game, and I was like, oh, and I wanted to wake up to watch that game, but I just woke up late, so I watched it later. But 2 of the most exciting games of the weekend were 1-0 games. Like Leicester Wolves was like next level, and anybody could have won that game, and they both went at each other. And you felt like more goals were scored than actually were scored. It was like great back and forth. And then going back to the Spurs Man City game, I feel like those 1-0 games were better than the West Ham Newcastle game for some reason.
It depends if you're judging on quality or entertainment,
right?
Because the two don't always correlate. Like the 4-2 game is probably actually quite low on quality apart from the finishes.
Yes, it was. And I think I was judging.
Yeah, like for me, the Spurs City game was super high quality from both teams in terms of how they were trying to play their football, and that you could see they both had very defined game plans as well. And credit to Nuno, he got his perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And Martin's gone for a second. I don't know how long. Let me see if I have.
No, I'm here. Just need to. I'm
just invisible.
No,
you mentioned the Leicester Wolves game. I mean, got to give credit to Pereira for his assist as well, because that was crazy the way he just chopped the ball past 2 defenders and then put that cross in for Vardy.
Yes, Vardy. That's the thing. You remember in the Man City game, Ferran Torres, they had a great set piece free kick.
Yeah.
And Ferran Torres like somehow missed it.
Yep.
When you mentioned the Vardy goal, I'm like, if Man City had a player like that, a poacher like that, they would have scored. Like that. What Vardy did in that game was harder than what Ferran Torres missed.
Yeah, the little finish off the side of the foot. Like, yeah, it was a real striker's finish.
Yeah, real striker's shit.
I was a little bit annoyed that when he celebrated Vardy, he ran straight past Pereira to go and do his celebration. I was like, the guy just put 2 defenders and put the cross in for you, and you just ignore him.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? That was pretty similar.
He went to do the
or
who
even
to the Wolves fans.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was
he
a pretty
did?
similar. There was a pretty similar play, actually, even more impressive, I would say, in the Newcastle game for the first goal for Wilson, when it was Saint Maxime, right?
Maximum. Yeah.
he went
Maximum.
he went right left, and then he speeded up and delivered like a perfect cross.
He Harry carried that defender. Like,
Unbelievable. And
like
that was Declan Rice. That was Declan Rice. That was
I thought
Declan Rice.
I thought he was making cookie
Yeah.
mix over there with that defender. It's like turning.
But you know who that was,
twisting.
right? It was a 100 million pound worth of a player in Declan
That was
Rice.
Ben White, Declan Rice.
No, Declan Rice.
I mean, the thing with Declan Rice being 100 million worth is like West Ham are the only ones who think that. So
Well, listen, if Ben White
they're
is
never
50
gonna get
mil,
100 million for Declan Rice.
listen, if Ben White is 50 mil, then he's 150.
But
you
see
know,
that
Declan
it
Rice.
doesn't really work that way, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, because I think Ben White was 50 million because
Close.
Brighton don't want him to go, and B, Arsenal have a track record of throwing money and not, and overpaying. I mean, they're not a kind of club that can really attract a Varane for 40 million, right? So they have to pay 50 million to get a Ben White.
And Neil, you said something in the chat about Arsenal has the third highest net spend between City and United.
Yeah,
Oh,
after City and United.
And even
in the
after
last 5 years.
In the last, even Chelsea still has less than Arsenal.
Yeah, so it's City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and then surprisingly it's Aston Villa, and then it's Spurs, Liverpool. So
Chelsea are probably making a whole bunch of money just off loan fees.
Yeah, and actually this right now, like with Tammy Abraham's sale, he's off to Roma and Jose Mourinho.
Right.
So now we are actually in like about 3 million in the negative. Like we sold more than we paid for Lukaku.
How much did Tammy go for? Like 35 million or something?
40 million euros. So yeah, I think around 35 million pounds. But interestingly, we've got a buyback of 80 million euros, which I think is kind of unprecedented, because I don't remember of a buyback clause on somebody going for 40 million plus. Buyback is usually for somebody, you sell on the cheap, but you then hope that, maybe if he gets to something big. So, but it's kind of interesting, like in the next couple of years. So they still have, maybe they want to keep that window open.
So why sell someone who you think is going to be worth that much money later on? I guess
because he's there's no place for him.
But
right
he
now.
could be.
I mean, there's no place for him right now.
not.
Like Tuchel's decided, I mean, the manager's decided that he's not the player for him. So,
do you think Werner's gonna? Because he started making some of the same mistakes this season that's been haunting him since he got to Chelsea. And do you think, is Werner like?
Can I add to it, Ian? Can I add to it? Can I add to this question? So, do you think, Neil, what Ian said, that's also sign up for that question. But I want to add, do you think that if Lukaku will be their center forward, if Werner plays next to him, attacking from the wing, he will actually be a better asset for Chelsea? Or you think he will probably have to go on loan?
No. I don't think any of these guys are going on loan, but
okay.
I don't think Werner starts though. That's the thing. I think what's going to happen.
So you don't think he will play well with Lukaku? That's my question.
I think he can play well with Lukaku, like going back off, his experience from Leipzig where he played with a big guy. But the problem is that, to get Werner on the pitch, he also has to get in front of folks like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, which is going to be his problem. Like, I think the front three is going to be Lukaku, followed by with Mount and Havertz behind, if we stick to the formation we've been using ever since Tuchel came in. But just yesterday, Tuchel gave a press conference where he talked about using two strikers up front. So that could be Werner's opening, or maybe Havertz is going to play that striker role, which he sometimes played at Leverkusen, kind of like the Lautaro Martinez, Lukaku role at Inter. So it's too early to say unless we actually see the way Lukaku is being used in games.
So let me ask you a question. I guess is Werner in danger of becoming the new De Bruyne / Salah at Chelsea, where
Fernando Torres? I have a better example.
he
For you.
just
Fernando Torres.
can't get it done on this trip, and then they have to like sell him, and then he comes back to the Premier League to another team, and then starts fucking killing it. But just this first landing here,
No,
in the Premier League, just throws him off.
The difference with Lukaku, De Bruyne, Salah, and even
the
Lukaku.
Same thing that happened with Lukaku.
Yeah, the difference with these three and Werner is that those three never really got a chance. Werner's got all the chances he can ask for. Like, he's been given plenty of time to show.
But it's still the same. It's still the same. It's like he might get all the chances, but it's just not something. Sometimes it's a mental thing, you know.
Yeah, it can always happen. I don't think we're selling him now. So unless he has another bad year, which would make it 2 bad years of playing and not performing, unlike those other 3 who never really got a chance to play, then there might be some hard decisions to make in another year's time. I mean, there's nothing to be done in the next 1 year. We need all these guys. Yeah. The one who was gonna go is gone now, Tammy. So
Tammy, I think, you know, I'll just get Lee. What do you think of your chances this weekend?
Guys, I gotta bounce. So
all right, thanks, brother.
Coming on. I'll see you guys later.
I will talk to you later. Lee, what do you think of your chances against Man United this weekend?
I mean, based on the weekend just gone, we got no chance. But football's weird. Football doesn't always work like that. That's the thing. Like, on paper, it should be an easy United victory based on last week, just because of, we conceded 3 goals to Everton, you scored 5 pass leads. But we're one of those weird teams where we up our game, especially at home against the big teams. Mm-hmm. We can become difficult to play against. So I still don't think we'll win it. I think you'll beat us, but I think we'll make you work for it. I think it will end up being like I think you end up winning like 2-1 or 3-1 or something. I think we'll make you sweat a little bit, but you'll win.
Is Hudson, which I can never say his name, is his style of coaching, has he changed the way Southampton plays since he's lost those players, or since last season? No,
against Everton, he wanted to press. He played with 2 centre forwards in the 4-2-2-2 system that he's played the last season.
You got 1 goal out the press.
Yeah, with Che Adams robbed Michael Keane and then put Armstrong in. We'll have those 2 guys up front. It'll be Ward-Prowse and Romeo in midfield, and then he started with Walcott and Gineppo as the wingers, or in the sort of inside forwards against Everton. But I don't think he should start them against United. I think we need Armstrong back and Redmond for that game, but we'll see.
Were they just on the bench?
Yeah, he fancied those guys. The thing is, we've actually got some good options off the bench now that we've done some transfer business, which is nice. But I don't think he knows who the best 11 are now, which is a good and a bad thing. Because last season we had no options. As soon as someone got injured, we were fucked. But now we've actually got players in the mix. So, I mean, we'll see. Like I say, I don't think we'll win. I don't think we'll draw. I think you'll win. But as long as we give like a good account of ourselves, that's all I can ask for in this one. Then, we need to go after the points in other games that are more realistic for us.
All right. And I guess I'll ask both of you this. So the last few years, Hudson has done so good that even Martin wanted him to be Spurs coach. But, if Southampton has a bad year, right? Is he losing stature, and is he missing his chance to have like gone somewhere like, like Southampton normally does with their players, send them to like a team that's more up the league and to enhance his profile by doing that? Or if he has a bad year, will people be like, well, the team lost 2 key players or 3 key players? Are people going to be understanding, or are they just, because some people just like look at the
I'll give
result,
you
they don't look at the details of the results.
I'll give you an example that looks very similar. Hopefully, it's not the similar situation because it didn't end well in this case. At the very end, that's Martinez. When Martinez was overachieving with Wigan, overachieving, he won the cup even. And then, unfortunately, they got relegated in the last season, but that didn't derail him because he got the Everton job, then he got the Belgium job. So he was still valued. He still got technically better jobs, and he's still in the mix, right? So I think that would be the same case. People tell that he overachieved at Southampton, even if things go wrong this season. And listen, Lee, I don't want to be here a bad prophet, but like I thought about what you said on our little chat yesterday, and I looked at the rosters, I looked at other teams, and yeah, it looks like you might be in trouble this year. I mean, and I'd say it without satisfaction because I like Southampton, and they're always a team that is fun to watch because they have all those players that come out of nowhere and score a lot of goals. Like Armstrong could be this player this season, but I'm a little bit worried. Like you miss depth for sure.
No, I mean, I said that last week. Like, we could very easily be in a relegation battle this season. But I think the main difference between Hasenhüttl and Martinez is Martinez won a trophy at Wigan. He actually did do some stuff. Hasenhüttl's finished, I think his highest finish with us is probably 15th so far. So he's more highly rated because of his philosophical sort of style. Like, he's very rigid in terms of how he wants to play. And it's an attractive way of playing if it goes right, when we press teams high and we get in their faces. But under Hasenhüttl, I've never seen a Southampton team throw away so many leads. Since he's joined us, the stats are ridiculous for the amount of times we've been leading in games and then thrown it away and drawn or lost. So there's big questions there about how tactically astute he is from winning positions. He doesn't change the way we play. We just carry on pressing and carry on playing in a style that could be a little bit open. And also, just his selection sometimes is slightly strange with the players, like I said, with Walcott and Gineppo starting at the weekend. So there's questions there. I think if he left us right now, this moment, he could get a reasonable job. I don't think he would get a job in the top 6, but he could get a reasonable job. But if he stays with us and we have a bad season again, or even worse, get relegated, then I think he'll struggle to get, the big jobs in this country. It might not harm him going back to Germany or somewhere. But I don't think many big clubs will be looking at him if he has a poor season again with us, because he's only shown promise with us. He's never actually really achieved anything with us yet. It's all just been.
What type of a job? What type of a job I think he could get? Like, for example, Newcastle. They decided to part ways with Steve Bruce, and they appoint. Hasenhüttl could be an option for them. Someone like a team at that level.
Yeah, which is sort of the one tier up from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how big is the club, because not necessarily they're a better team in the last 10 years, but in terms of like the magnitude of the club, it's a little bit more.
Because they got 20,000 more seats in the stadium. That's literally all they have.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But he'd be going from one owner who gives him barely anything to spend to another. So that'd be a terrible move for him as well.
Why does he feel like, even though Martinez won something, why does he feel still like a better coach than Martinez to me? And because I look at like what you just said, like the owner doesn't give him that much money to spend. And he's making 3-course meals out of appetizer money.
Yeah, it's been a tough job. It's not been an easy job for him. Like, from the moment he joined, it's been a tough job. The club's been selling players and things like that. He's not been given much money to invest, but also, like I say, there are the things that people are questioning, like the amount of times we've been up in games and thrown them away. But he's also achieved some great results. We've beaten Man City under him. We've beaten Chelsea away with him as manager. We've drawn with United away. Like, we've got good results. It's just a consistency thing. We've never really hooked it up. Even last season, we were top of the league in September or October or something, and then we were fighting relegation and losing 9-0 in the second half of the season. So, it's just a consistency thing as well. But I think he's got the capability to do it. It'd be interesting to see what he would do with more resources as well, because he finished second in the Bundesliga with Leipzig in their first ever season.
Oh, sure.
When they got promotion. He got Ingolstadt promoted from the second division to the Bundesliga. So he's done stuff, just not in this country yet. I think he's just been real, amazing one week with us and then disappointing the next. So it's hard to tell.
I think it's tougher in England in a league where they can afford better players from the other teams. Not that, and the Bundesliga has great players, but I don't know. It's just, like you said, they're selling and they're not buying. You don't have any depth. Last year when you got injuries, that was it. You just had injuries. You had nobody to replace those people. Like, all those things count. What do you guys think? Let me ask Martin this. Martin can answer first. Chelsea versus Arsenal coming up.
Well, Chelsea has to win this game, and there's no excuse. Historically, Arsenal had some success with Chelsea, but I mean, in this moment, Chelsea is so much better than Arsenal, and I actually see Arteta getting potentially fired in the first month of the season with the schedule they have. I think they play City soon, and they have Man U too, right?
No, they don't have us for a while, but after.
Okay, so they have City and Liverpool.
City. And
okay.
Then they play
and
Norwich.
Then us, and they play
have
us,
Norwich after City.
And they play us in the 6th or 7th week of the season. So they can, if it goes wrong for Arsenal, they can fire Arteta because fans are super frustrated, and there's no progress. I think there's a decline every year. They're finishing lower, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finished outside of top 10 this season with the way they play football.
What do you think, Lee? Chelsea, Arsenal.
I think we could, we talked about Arsenal being like Chelsea's sort of kryptonite in recent years, but I think we're going to switch back to the era before that, because there was an era where every time Chelsea played Arsenal, Drogba would just beat up the Arsenal defence and make them look like children and score every time that he played against them. He bullied Arsenal for a number of years. I think we might get a new era like that with Lukaku against I would not want to be Ben White this week, knowing that he's coming back into that Chelsea team this week, and
he was losing all the headers.
Absolutely moved all over the place on whatever day it's on.
Moved like furniture.
Yeah,
he was losing all the headers against Brentford.
Yeah.
And now it will be even more difficult because there is a lot of size on Chelsea team. So I don't know.
Yeah. Ben White got beat up by Ivan Toney. He's going to get beat up by Lukaku.
Oh, shit. Damn. A game that I think is going to be super interesting this weekend is West Ham versus Leicester. Because I just feel like they're in the second tier from the top, these two teams. I like how Leicester played this week. And, West Ham beat Newcastle. With Newcastle having that towards the end of the season when they got all their players back, Newcastle was pretty good and pulled himself out the relegation zone. So I think that's just a game to watch out for, like a really exciting game. But also about Southampton, Lee, I feel like last season you guys started off really good and you were at the top of the table at some point. I feel like you're gonna have a reverse season, because you have these new players and they have to get acclimated to the way the team totally plays. I feel like you're going to be in an early relegation battle and maybe by December be completely out of it. And you should be.
I hope you're right.
Fine. Yeah. That's just a feeling based on what you said.
I hope so too.
Who you got, Martin?
In which
trying to see
in
who you
the
guys. It's Tottenham. You play Wolves. Oh shit! You go against Nuno's old team.
yeah.
You might lose that game.
Yeah, we could. I don't think we will. I'm not so scared of Wolves, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. I just don't think it's a team that it matches very well against this Tottenham team. I'm more worried about other big teams, playing Chelsea or Man U or Liverpool.
But you have to
But
focus on these little teams.
yeah. No, I agree.
Not little teams, but the next game you got to play.
Yeah, I would say probably a draw. We can win, but probably a draw will be the most likely result. I think one thing about Nuno, though, I'm gonna say, I'm impressed with his likability. He's a really very likable coach, and he's what Mourinho tried to be, because what Mourinho tried to be nice, but that's not his nature, and it just didn't work. Where Nuno, I think, he's genuinely a nice guy, and it looks like the biggest difference I'm seeing in players' approach, and you can tell by the example, for example, Dele Alli, how Dele Alli tried harder for him, than he'd ever tried for Mourinho. How some other players were really, Lucas Moura had actually an unbelievable game, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Like they were really trying.
Tanganga. What do you think about your Tanganga?
Yeah, hopefully that's the answer, because
you can't come down Tanganga Boulevard unless you pay the toll. And after he collects the money for the toll, he still ain't gonna let you through.
Exactly. I was very, very happy, because that was the one of the weakest points of this team last season. We were conceding so many goals on that side, with Aurier and Doherty operating there, and always being late, when it mattered, or making stupid fouls when it mattered. So that's very refreshing, and he's a proper Tottenham player. So that's also very good. Sometimes you just need to give those young players, and he did with Skip in the starting lineup. Sometimes you just need to
Skip
give a chance.
Good.
Yeah, you need to give a chance to young players. Sometimes.
Is he a CDM? What is?
It's hard to say at this level, because I haven't seen enough of him, but he looked comfortable in this position.
Yeah, that's where he played for Norwich all last season on loan.
Oh yeah, CDM. What do you guys think of how Grealish played for City?
I think he did some good stuff.
Yeah.
But he needs someone to play off of. Like, they need that forward. I know Pep likes the false nine, and you can do the false nine when it's Messi at Barca. But I think in the Premier League and with this City team, you need a forward. Like, City's best domination, sort of, came when Aguero was there scoring goals for him. And even if they sign Kane, he's not like an always out and out number 9. Like, he can drop deep and play like a false 9 too. You give them both. Like, he can be a penalty box striker and he can drop deep. So I think he's the best solution for them. Right. So yeah, I think Grealish will work better if there's someone like that in the team. But I still think he did well, especially because I think if you're a new player that goes to a Pep team, you've got a lot to learn, because he gives his players a lot of information that they need to know, and they need to know it quickly.
Yeah.
So already I think he looks like he suits them. But the Kane thing will be interesting. I think someone pointed out something I saw the other day, was saying, like, even after the win, Harry Kane said nothing on social media. He didn't say, like, great win for the boys or anything like that.
Oh, shit.
Which I think says
and he used
a lot.
to do that. He used to do it all the time.
Yeah. Apparently he's due back in training, but I mean, I think his silence at the weekend on that game spoke volumes. Like, something's going to happen.
Listen, I'll tell you this: how serious, how not serious. He never scored in August anyway. There was always a month he never scored. so I can. I'm not missing him yet.
He fixed that later on, but that was his issue. That's funny.
So I'm not missing him just yet. Let's wait where we are at September 1st. If he's still at Tottenham, then it's a different story.
You know what amazes me about Spurs is that Bergwijn has everything to be a goal scorer, except goal scoring.
Yeah,
he has the speed. He's in the right position. He tears down the field, and then he just can't put it away. Like, it's and but maybe he'll get better this season. Maybe he should be the answer to your problems, but right now, he ain't.
Not so sure.
All right.
Plus, even listen, if we sell Kane, let's say we sell Kane, right? If we sell Kane, I would say it's a very, very big chance, looking at the fair play situation with the financial fair play situation and looking how much Bernardo Silva is making at City, it's a very, very fair chance that Bernardo Silva goes the other way. Very, very fair chance. So it looks like almost the deal cannot be made otherwise. They have to send us Bernardo Silva just to match the financial.
But I said that to you last week. You should take Bernardo
Yeah,
Silva. It'll be a mistake not to get a player
into,
with the money. But do you need a Bernardo Silva?
But that's what I'm saying. If we get Bernardo Silva, then Bergwijn is not the answer because he will play there.
Right. And he'll help create more, and he's better defensively probably than a Bernardo. He has that championship mentality. He just needs. He's not get. I feel like for some reason he's out of favor with. Pep.
Like I saw a crazy stat because I actually read about Bernardo Silva today while having lunch. He was not even on the bench in 60% of City games in the last 2 months of the season last season.
It's crazy.
Not even on the bench.
No. As a matter of fact, towards the end of the season last year for City, they started using him. But
only like 2-3 games. But in like 5 or 6 games, he wasn't even on the bench.
I'd have to go back, but I know in the beginning of the season they didn't use him a lot, and I was like, they started like activating Mahrez, and I feel like Mahrez is one of those guys that fools you into thinking that he's better than he is. I feel like, I don't know, Bernardo Silva, like when it comes to desire levels, and then Pep does this thing with players sometimes, like he did it with Ibrahimovic, Eto'o, and a bunch of people where he's just like, I'm done with you. He did it. He would never like Yaya Toure. He just would never like him. And there's nothing Yaya Toure could do. So I think Bernardo Silva somehow slid into that category. Let me see.
But he makes £120,000 per week, which is, I think, the second highest wages at City. So if they decide to bring on Kane, they have to. There's like financially, because for example, Gabriel Jesus makes only 70,000, and he's making 120,000. So it's just the only way it's gonna work with the financial fair play, matching wages and stuff. They have to send him to Tottenham.
But is Daniel Levy? That's another question. It's like I feel like how forwards score goals and that's how they're judged no matter what. Is Daniel Levy like his thing is to score as much money as possible, and that's how he proves himself to like the board. He's like, he made us this much money. It's like, would he take less than 150 and the player, or does he want? I feel like he's the type of dude that wants the 150 and fuck the player, even though the less money, and the player would make Spurs even better and it worth it selling Harry Kane. Bernardo Silva is not a joke player. He's a real deal. But is Levy's ego like It's like is Levy's ego?
We talk about two different things. I agree with you. But we talk about the financial fair play. I mean, City cannot just spend 150 mil and not sell anybody. They have to get rid of of those contracts, because otherwise once they got away with it, with the crime, they're not going to get away with the same crime twice. So they just have to dispose at probably 2 players, not only one. So they can send Bernardo Silva to Tottenham. They still have to sell somebody. And one thing I didn't mention actually, because I had it in my head before podcast and I didn't say that. How the game was won for Tottenham? Son was left 1-on-1 against Aki. Right?
Yeah.
So he had Aki 1-on-1 and he scored a goal. If somebody told me before the game that our best player will be left 1-on-1 against Aki, that will decide the game, I would probably vote on yes. And so it's funny if you look at City and how much money they spend. They even spent on Aki 50 million. He's not a 50 million player.
No, he's not.
And they had Mendy, and Mendy's also not paying off for them either.
Yeah, Mendy's not paying off. Like early in his City career, he did, but then he got injured, and then he's just not. And then Aki, I always disagreed with Man City buying Aki. They were desperate and they were looking for defenders, and he made them buy more defenders after him. And maybe next year he'll pull a Stones and get up to the City level, but he's definitely not there. But I just want to slide into something about Man U. It's not really about Man U, it's about Pogba. because everybody's like worried about and I said this in the chat about losing Pogba or him not having a contract. But I think this is the best time and the best position. Like you normally want to have your player locked in and know how long he's going to be with you, right? And you don't have to worry about him leaving. But I feel like this situation can work to Man United's advantage. Like we didn't sell him after the Euros, and that would have gave him enough value to go somewhere and get the salary that he wants for his last big contract. But we didn't sell him, and now he has to play at least a full season or half a season with Man United. And whether he signs with us or not, he has to play good enough to get a huge ass contract. And we're going to be the benefactors of that. Like we're going to take a like this Pogba's new contract is coaching Pogba this season. It's going to make him do all the things that he didn't want to do defensively and make go harder offensively because he needs to justify whoever's going to pay him. He needs to justify us. If we're going to give him $400 million, he got to play all season like he's worth 100, like $400 million a week or $400,000 a week. So I just think like any Man U fan that's panicking, I wouldn't panic now. I would panic at the end of the season if he had an amazing season and then we can't keep him. But even after that, I'd be like, what's his motivation after that and wherever he goes, whether he stays with us, to keep up that level? So I think we should get the best and most consistent season from Pogba. And sometimes running down your contract and losing a player is not as bad because this guy has to play good. So I think Man U fans were in a good situation. And we're gonna go soon. I just want to see if there's anything I missed. Uh, I guess this question is for Lee. How do you think the relationship between fans and their teams has changed since quarantine?
I mean, I don't think it's changed wildly at many clubs. Maybe some of the ones that tried to join the Super League, it has. But even then, I mean, like, I thought it was great. Like when you saw Varane walk out before the Leeds game with the shirt.
Yeah.
With Rio Ferdinand there as well. And just like the ovation he got from the United fans, you know, that was amazing. You talked about the Spurs fans earlier and the effect they had on the game. I think the Spurs fans almost looked like they wanted to prove a point to Harry Kane as well, to say like, you know, okay, this is what you're going to leave, like, you know, and almost for the team, like, oh, you know, like saying to the Spurs players, oh, you've not got Kane, but you've got us. We'll be that extra player for you, kind of thing.
Because you know what, Lee, actually, you know, like when I think about it, if I'm a Harry Kane, here's the thing, you know, if I'm a Harry Kane, because people like to dictate to athletes that they have to win trophies, that they have to win the league, the thing is, if you are Harry Kane and you play for your local team and you make that much money and you are so, you know, you're the Tottenham player, you have an option of doing this. Okay, so I asked for the biggest contract, one of the biggest contracts in the league, or the biggest contract in the league. I'll be well-regarded player for the next 10 years. I'll compete for the title in terms of best scorer in the league for the next 10 years. I will leave the league, you know, beating maybe Alan Shearer's record, you know. If we win some cups, maybe, you know, great. If we compete for a title one or two more times in the next 10 years, great. But we might not win it, right? But then there's a risk if you go to the City, let's say, or United or Chelsea, and you become the next Fernando Torres, then your legacy will be torn forever. Or it's not going to happen.
You become the next Kyle Walker.
Well, different position, different expectations, different price tag.
I'm talking titles.
Yeah, but you know, if you're
an elite level pro, though, you've got to back yourself to go and be a success.
Yeah, but listen, you play for the team without a huge fan base, with a very high expectations, very extremely high expectations. You'll never be loved by the fan base. You'll never be adored like you were at your home team. You'll never get the same
But what about what you
legendary
want?
status. You'll be
But what,
just highly paid
Martin,
employee, pretty much.
Martin, you don't want to live your life with regrets, right? Like if
But
you,
we don't know
if
what
you,
he wants.
we know what he wants. He wants titles or some
You
type
sure
of
about this?
silverware. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, listen, Martin, if you're
But
Harry Kane,
more than he
let
wants
me
to be,
let me
at
answer the
home.
question
Okay.
so that you don't
Okay.
even have to ask it. If you're Harry
Okay.
Kane, right? You see football from a lot of different places. You see it the way you just explained it, playing for your home club all your life. But you always, and you see it for the love of the fans, and you see it for what you want and your desires, and you also see it for what the pundits are going to say with you when your playing days are done. And what they're going to say is, he never won, because you've seen them say it about other players, and you want to end that. You want to end that. Like, you don't want to be the
Wow.
player who was good and never won. You just if, and you also want to be considered for the Ballon d'Or. Like, people are saying you're one of the best strikers in Europe.
Listen, Michael Owen won Ballon d'Or and he didn't win the title with Liverpool.
Yeah, and he's not considered one of the all-time greats there or anywhere else.
He won a Ballon d'Or.
But he was but he was just scoring goals for fun then. It was crazy what he was doing. It was next level. Like, you thought Robbie Fowler was something, and then Michael Owen comes along and you're like, how is this guy scoring at a higher rate than Robbie Fowler? It what he was doing was phenomenal. You know what I mean? But at least he did it for a club that had some stature.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even a winning things either. I mean, as a player like Kane, you just want to be playing in the Champions League every year as well, which Spurs can't even offer right now.
Yeah,
like, you want to be in that top tournament every season.
If I was him, I would wait how this project under Nuno develops this year. If there are signs pointing towards that it might be the next.
Almost 28. He can't.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I don't think City team is on the upswing right now. I think they might be actually on a downswing with this roster.
Why did you say that?
Because they won the league and got to a Champions League final.
They did. Yeah, they did. But it's something looks like, even in this game and the way this, like Aguero left, Silva left. I don't see those young players like Ferran Torres and the defenders. I don't see them being quite at that level. The Messi thing didn't work out. If they had Messi, sure, it's a different story. I don't think it will be their season. I don't, even with Kane, I don't think they will win the league.
Who do you think is going to win it?
Either Chelsea or Man U. Or Liverpool, if they buy few more players. Why not?
Bro, Harry Kane is 28. If Levy doesn't sell him now, said this last week, he's going to get less for him next year. So
he's just got 20 more million for 1 week.
I mean, yeah, but it's running down your contract is similar to running up your age, and
also Haaland's available next season,
right?
As well, which means Kane's worth less next season too.
Right.
We don't know. It doesn't always work that way. Possibly not. We'll see.
Haaland's definitely moving next summer. Absolutely.
What if Kane wins like the best scorer of the World Cup? Then his price is even more expensive.
That's not for a year and a half, though.
Yeah.
No, it's year and a half. You're right.
Well, so Haaland will move before then for his clause, which is like 70 million or whatever, and Mino Raiola will get probably the same on top of that.
Hilarious.
But he'll be the highest property centre forward next season. So Kane needs to get it done this season.
Listen, I don't think Harry Kane is at the level of Lewandowski. I think he's a level below him. I think he's top 5 in terms of strikers in the world, but not the best striker. I think Lewandowski is better. I think Haaland potentially will be better. And listen, if the offer is 150, sure, why not? I'm just thinking from his perspective. It would be a very risky move for him, very, very risky move, because he'll put everything on the line. If you play for one club, you have a chance to play for one club your entire career. That's huge.
He's burned those. I think he's burned those bridges now, though. Most Spurs fans I know hate him now.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Nah,
he's dead. He's dead to most Spurs fans that I know.
That might be like raw nerve.
Listen.
That might be like raw nerve emotions. Like there's Villa fans that hate Jack
Yeah,
now, even though he put $100 million in
Listen,
their pockets.
He never refused to show up to training though.
Right.
He
But they
comes
still
back.
hate him.
I think it was overblown. If he comes back and scores hat-trick against Arsenal, everybody will love him.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get over it. It's a relationship. It's like you're trying to break up and you'll take the person back and forgive them for everything that they did.
One thing is for sure, people are also speculating that Son might want to leave. He signed a new contract. He seems happy. He seems very motivated. I like his body language. And I'm glad to have him on Tottenham. I think Son will be one of the best players in the league this season.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. But what are you guys looking forward to seeing next week? And what do you want to plug? Any gigs or anything, guys? Lee first.
No, I've just check my Instagram out, Lee Hudson Comedy. I put my gigs on there. Been pretty busy recently, which is nice.
I see that.
But no, I'm looking forward to the Saints United game, just to see if we can get anything out of it. Like I said, I don't think we will, but I just want to see us put a good performance in and give you a tough game. All
right. What about you, Martin?
I want to see if Dele Alli can be Dele Alli again. I thought it could be a lost cause, but there were flashes and signs of him getting better. So if he can get better, if he can get back on track, that would be very exciting. So I'll be paying attention to his development under Nuno and especially him, because he might be the missing piece that we didn't have last season. Him being him from his best days, and he's still a young player, so it's possible. And you can follow me on Instagram, Martin_HarrisLA. I post my stuff there too.
All right, cool. And just for me, what I'm looking forward definitely to the Manchester United Southampton game. I want to see if we're going to play Sancho and see how he does and see how quickly he acclimates to the league. I'm sure there's going to be like an adjustment period, but I just want to see how we attack. Do you think you guys might go in a low block at any time, Lee?
Possibly, but I think he'll want to get in your faces. It will only be a low block if we decide to. If we don't win the ball high up, we'll quickly recover back into it. But for the most part, it'll probably be a high press.
Right. I just think the whole Manchester United team is just progressing, period. Like, I feel like the Premier League is a very impatient league. And like Solskjaer probably wasn't qualified to be Man United's coach when he first got the job. But now he's more qualified to be that coach than most people that are qualified, because he's had the learning on the job. And to learn on the job as a Man U coach and not get fired, learning is a feat in itself. And I just feel like we should just, this year is a very telling year. He has to win something. But whether he stays or goes, I said this before, he's progressed the strength of the team, which is, it's not just winning on the field, but it's like doing good business, getting people in, keeping your job, dealing with the front office and the players and getting everybody, as there's a good environment there and people want to play for him. And let's just see, I want to see where this goes this season. So I'm excited. I want to see an exciting game against Southampton. And people, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I mess around the most, on at Ian Edwards Comic, and on Twitter the same, at Ian Edwards Comic. I'll post shows and stuff like that. I'm at this weekend I'm at the Blue Room in Springfield, Missouri. That's August 20th and 21st. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. So check that out. And I'll be donating some of the proceeds from the show. The more people come out, the more money I'll give from my salary to the Innocence Project, which is a great project. They get innocent people out of jail. So just want to try to figure out to do something to
Great.
make a difference. So do that. And thank you, Aaron Brungardt, for producing the show. and like and subscribe and tell people, pass this around. Enjoy your football, be good to each other, and one love to everyone.